You think you know who attacked CM Punk at War Games? You think WWE's been playing games with us, stringing us along for weeks while that coward hid in the shadows? Well, everything you thought you knew just got turned upside down on Monday Night Raw, and I'm telling you right now, if you click away from this video in the next 60 seconds, you're going to miss the most explosive revelation in WWE history. Nick Aldis didn't just expose the mystery attacker. He didn't just unmask him. He fired him on the spot, live on television, and the wrestling world will never be the same. But here's what nobody's talking about. Here's what everyone's missing while they're busy screaming about who it was. The real story isn't just about identity. It's about betrayal, it's about conspiracy, and it's about how deep this rabbit hole actually goes. So smash that like button right now because you're going to want to remember where you were when you heard this. Drop a comment telling me if you saw this coming, and share this with every wrestling fan you know who's been living under a rock for the past 3 weeks. Let's rewind to War Games, the most brutal match concept WWE has ever created. 5 on 5, 2 rings, 1 cage, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. CM Punk, the voice of the voiceless, the man who came back to WWE after a decade of bad blood, was finally getting his moment of glory. Or so we thought. Because just when it looked like Punk's team was about to secure victory, just when redemption was within his grasp, everything went black. Not for us. For Punk. Someone attacked him from behind, someone in a black hoodie, someone whose face we couldn't see. The cameras caught the aftermath. They caught Punk laid out cold. They caught the chaos. But they didn't catch the attacker's identity. And for 3 weeks, WWE played this perfectly. They leaked nothing. Absolutely nothing. Social media went insane. Twitter detectives analyzed every frame of footage. Reddit threads stretched for miles with theories that ranged from plausible to absolutely insane. Was it a returning superstar? Was it someone from Punk's past in AEW? Was it a hired investigation? He said he'd reviewed every second of footage, interviewed every person backstage, followed every lead no matter how small. And then he said the words that made my jaw hit the floor. He said he knew exactly who attacked CM Punk. He knew the identity of the mystery man. And not only that, but the attacker was in the building. Right there. Right then. Backstage at Monday Night Raw. The crowd erupted. The energy in that arena was absolutely electric. People were on their feet. Security guards lined the entrance ramp. And Aldis demanded that the mystery attacker come out and face the consequences. Face CM Punk. Face the WWE Universe. Face justice. The seconds felt like hours. The tension was unbearable. And then the music hit. Except it wasn't music we recognized. It was generic entrance music, the kind WWE uses for nobodies and developmental talent. And out walked someone who made the entire arena collectively gasp in confusion and shock. It wasn't a main event star. It wasn't someone from AEW. It wasn't a legendary name returning for one more run. It was Drew Markin, a lower card wrestler who barely anyone had heard of, someone who'd been working dark matches and occasional main event appearances, someone so far removed from CM Punk's orbit that it made absolutely no sense whatsoever. But here's where it gets good. Here's where the real story starts. Because as Drew Markin stood in that ring, trembling, looking like he wanted to disappear into the canvas, Nick Aldis didn't just expose him. He interrogated him. Live on Raw. Aldis demanded to know why. Why would someone with everything to lose attack the biggest star in the company during the biggest match of the year? And Drew Markin's answer changed everything. He said he was paid. He said someone backstage, someone with power, someone with money, approached him weeks before War Games and offered him a deal he couldn't refuse. Attack CM Punk during the chaos of War Games. Make sure Punk couldn't win. Make sure Punk looked vulnerable. And in return, Drew Markin would get a main roster contract, guaranteed television time, and a push straight to the top. He was promised the world. All he had to do was take out CM Punk. The arena went nuclear. Because this wasn't just about one man's jealousy or one man's grudge. This was a conspiracy. This was someone in power manipulating a desperate wrestler, using him as a weapon, and then throwing him to the wolves when the heat got too intense. Nick Aldis demanded names. He demanded to know who orchestrated this. Who pulled the strings? Who was the puppet master? And Drew Markin, tears streaming down his face, looked directly into the camera and said he couldn't tell us. He said he signed a non-disclosure agreement. He said if he revealed the name, he'd lose everything. His contract would be voided, he'd be blacklisted from the industry, and he'd face legal consequences that would bankrupt him for life. But Aldis wasn't having it. You could see the fury building in his face. He told Drew Markin that his contract was meaningless now, that the second he laid hands on CM Punk, he violated every code of conduct WWE has, that there was no NDA in the world that could protect him from what was about to happen. And then Nick Aldis said the words that sent shockwaves through the wrestling world. "You're fired." Effective immediately. Security escorted Drew Markin out of the arena, and the crowd gave him the send-off he deserved. Not cheers, not boos, just complete, utter silence. The silence of disgust. The silence reserved for people who sold their souls and got nothing in return. But CM Punk wasn't done. Oh no, Punk stormed out to that ring, microphone in hand, and delivered one of the most intense promos of his entire career. He said Drew Markin was just a pawn, a nobody, a coward who took the easy way out and paid the price. But the real enemy, the real target of Punk's rage, was still hiding, still backstage, still pulling strings. And Punk made a promise. He said he'd find out who was behind this. He said he'd expose them. He said he'd make them pay in ways they couldn't even imagine. And the way Punk delivered that promise, the venom in his voice, the fire in his eyes, made it clear that this story is far from over. So let's talk about what this means. Let's talk about the ramifications. Because firing Drew Markin solved one problem but created a dozen more. First, who actually hired him? Drew Markin might be gone, but someone with serious power and serious money orchestrated this entire thing. The suspects are endless. Triple H? Paul Heyman? Seth Rollins? Someone from the old regime trying to sabotage the new one? Someone from Punk's past with a grudge that runs deeper than we know? The wrestling world is buzzing with theories, and honestly, every single one of them is plausible. Second, what does this do to CM Punk's storyline going forward? Because now Punk isn't just fighting opponents in the ring. He's fighting an invisible enemy, a conspiracy that goes all the way to the top. This is the kind of storytelling that made the Attitude Era legendary. This is the kind of drama that keeps people glued to their screens week after week. And third, what happens to Nick Aldis? Because by firing Drew Markin on the spot, Aldis made a statement. He showed he won't tolerate this kind of behavior, even if it costs WWE a potential storyline. But did he act too quickly? Did he fire Drew Markin before getting all the information? Before exposing the real mastermind? Some people are saying Aldis is a hero for taking swift action. Others are saying he's a fool for letting the bigger fish swim away. And honestly, I'm torn. Part of me respects the decisiveness. Part of me thinks we just lost our best chance at getting the full truth. Because now Drew Markin's gone, and with him goes any leverage WWE had to force him to talk. The puppet master stays hidden, and the game continues. If you're still watching, if you're as obsessed with this story as I am, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Because I promise you, I'm going to be covering every single twist and turn of this conspiracy. I'm going to break down every clue, analyze every promo, and connect every dot until we figure out who's really behind this. And I need you here with me for this journey, because this is the biggest story in wrestling right now, and it's only going to get bigger. Here's what we know for certain. Drew Markin attacked CM Punk at War Games. He was caught, exposed, and fired. But he didn't act alone. Someone with serious influence paid him to do it, and that person is still out there. Still plotting. Still manipulating. And CM Punk won't rest until he finds them. The question is, will Punk get his revenge before whoever's behind this makes their next move? Because you can bet everything you own that this isn't over. The mystery attacker might be gone, but the real villain is still lurking in the shadows, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. Monday Night Raw just became must-watch television again, and if you're not tuning in every single week, you're missing out on the most compelling storyline WWE has produced in years. So drop a comment right now telling me who you think hired Drew Markin. Tell me your wildest theories, your craziest conspiracies, because I'm reading every single one of them and I want to know what you're thinking. Share this video with everyone you know because this story is too big to keep to yourself. And most importantly, stay tuned to Ring Rumble, because we're going to be all over this story until the very end. The mystery attacker might be caught and fired, but the real game is just beginning, and CM Punk is about to tear WWE apart to find the truth.